chance.
Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We are live. It is the Maxine Phillips show. We're talking about life strategies. Levelless is all about success without levels. Remove those levels. Stop competing with yourself and stop competing with others. All you need to do is what? Know who you are, know your worth, advocate for yourself, set strategies, and succeed on your terms. That's what Levelless is all about. So, tonight, as we talk about life strategies, we have a phenomenal guest with us. And we're going to be talking about business growth strategies. So, we have Divya Parquet with us, and she's going to be sharing some great information. So, get pen, and paper ready. I also want you to reach out, let others know that the Maxine Phillips Life Strategy Show is on, and we drop platinum nuggets. That's right, platinum nuggets. So sit back, come on, engage in the conversation, ask questions as we talk this hour. So let's bring our guest on, Divya. There we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Hello, 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 and welcome. I think you're on mute.
Hello, Maxine. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an honor.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we have an executive coach sitting in front of us. We have someone that does influence on narrative as a consultant. So, a wealth of information and a person who's sitting here that can answer all of these questions when you start talking about business growth. So, as we dive into the conversation this evening, I want you to share with us what caused you to even get into this particular profession.
So, I gotta share that my life's journey has been like a river. It has meandered through different landscapes from academia to research through Fortune 50, Fortune 500 companies. And when there were layoffs, I saw a lot of my colleagues being walked off. And to me, that was like, I am making a difference, and yet I don't know where the next step is going to be.
Mm,
And I had to do some soul searching, like, where did I want my life's river to go next?
right.
And fortunately, as human beings, we can control our lives to a certain extent. And I did a lot of soul reflection, and I knew that I had an insatiable thirst for learning. So I decided, what profession is there that where you can continuously learn
Right.
and where we can continuously make an impact? And of
Okay.
course, the answer was coaching.
That's
And
right.
that's how I got into it.
Well, that's awesome. It's amazing that you should say about, being walked off because COVID, not only did people walked off by the employer, but they walked off themselves because they did exactly what you talked about. They set back, they reflect, they reevaluate their life, their career, and are they happy at what they're doing? And if not, that was the time that they decided that they could what make a change. So I love the fact that you said, and let's face it, in many of the states, it's called, you don't, they can walk you off at any time for any reason without any justification. So it's nothing wrong with you having a backup plan. And it's better to have a backup plan now than wait until it happens and find yourself in a crisis situation. So I love the fact that you're going to be helping us talk about business growth and what we can do as individuals to help us. So talk to me a little bit about tonight we're going to be talking about understanding, right? We're going to be talking about how do you understand the business growth strategy. So first of all, lay out your thoughts on the business growth strategies and then start talking about how do we understand them.
Absolutely. So when we talk about business growth strategies, I want you to think There are lots of philosophies out there. There are a lot of approaches. And a lot of people will say that to you. Follow my 3-step formula, 7-step formula, 9-step formula.
Exactly.
And it has definitely worked for them. It may have worked for some of the clients. And yet, your experience, your expertise, your situation, your aspirations, your dreams are different. So, what I share is that first, go back to know thyself.
Mm,
And it's super important because the life of an entrepreneur is awesome, and yet it's fraught with an obstacle course. And
no,
the reason I share is that sometimes you can be by yourself. And there may be things like, oh, the next shiny thing. Oh, I gotta get this. I gotta get this. And then you are diluting your energy, time, money, and efforts and not reaching anywhere. So the first step is know thyself. It's so important. Like, what kind of life do you want to live? So for
definitely.
some people, I'm just going to, is it okay if I share some stories?
Sure.
So, for example, one of this person that I worked with, let's name her Sarah. She wanted to do a lot of things. And when she started out as an entrepreneur, she was a health coach because she had a degree in health sciences, and then she had an experience in business. So she was a business coach. Then she was great in technology. So she was helping people set up websites, and she was just doing it all. And she knew it. She knew quite a bit. So she was not wrong in assuming that she could go and definitely go and help people. And she was helping people. Now, that said, after a couple of years, she started feeling drained out.
Right.
She started losing her passion. And she's like, oh, why the heck am I working 60, 70 hours, hustling and grinding every single day, day in and day out? What is it am I doing for? So that brings us to back to what we started with, know thyself. What is your why? Your red hot why. That will keep you going in the toughest of the toughest days. It will keep you going when you fall down, when you fail. And I'll tell you, folks, I've I've eaten so many humble pies that if my why was not strong enough, I would have quit a long time back.
Listen, you just dropped a beautiful nugget. Understand your why. Know your why. Even write the why down so that you can have it in front of you at all times. One of the things that we do here at Level Less is to help them to understand what that why is. Because when we can assess their everyday abilities that they're doing without even thinking about them, and then it helps them either to discover, it's going to help them to confirm what is their why. And when you know that, you're just sitting here sharing with us that that's how you can start coming out of the gate. That's how you can start making a difference. So I love the fact that you're helping us to understand. It's called business growth strategies, but you can use these in your everyday life.
Hmm. You said it. You said it. It's so beautiful because when we talk about strategy, it's you who makes the company, it's you who makes that business. So it's important to know yourself.
Yes.
And it reminds me of a story. I've written several books, and I think it was 2 or 3 books before that. I was sitting there and writing. It was a cold, dreary day, overcast, wintry, and of course, in North Carolina, winters are mild and we're spoiled. So even so, it had been cloudy for a few days and I was getting winter blues. And I was sitting in front of the computer. I hadn't turned it on, thinking, why the heck am I writing this book again? Why can't I just kind of continue go do that coaching? I spend hours and hours and hours scratching my head and like having going through those doubts and like experiencing writer's blocks and all those pain points, then I'm like, okay, I'm going to push myself. I turn on my computer. I just thought, like, let me go through my emails before I jump into writing my next chapter, and I was trying to procrastinate because I was experiencing writer's block. And then I opened up email. It was from someone that I didn't know, someone who had read my previous book. And they said, Divya, as I read your entrepreneur's garden, and as I was going through some of the exercises, it was as if somebody jumped out of the book and gave me permission to be myself.
Mm.
And boom, I was so energized. I can't even tell you. I'm like, oh yeah, I know. Why am I
Doing.
writing those books? Because I cannot individually as a coach reach many, many people at a given time. So I want to help. My goal, my why is to impact as many people as I can. And that determines the business strategy. So I want to go back to that story is that I'd forgotten to keep my why in front of me. Like Maxine said, like, write it down and keep it in front of you. I'd forgotten. And the reason is because I want to impact many. One of my business growth strategies is to write a book because we only have so many hours in a day. We can only reach so many people at a given time.
Right.
So, through a book, for me, I'm not saying it's for everyone, it's again, know thyself. What works for you? What gives you joy? Who do you want to work with? So, like, the first step is we talked about know thyself, and primarily in it, know your why.
Know your why.
Because I can tell you, I was energized like that bunny, that commercial. I kept on going, I kept on writing for like 4 days. And finished off like 4 chapters. Didn't stop. I mean, I'd barely take a break to eat. So that's what your why can do for you. So we cannot go, of course, in all the strategies and
Right.
details given the time we have, but that's the first strategy. Now, the second is see what brings you joy.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay, you know your why. And now sit down and create your manifestation board. And the reason I call manifestation board is like dreams are dreams till they are in your head. When you put it down on paper, when you visualize yourself, what is it that you want to be?
Right.
What is it that gives you that joy? What is it that you want to manifest? Because dreams without realizing them are just ideas, are just those clouds that are light and that don't rain. So you want to have those clouds that are fully saturated
Correct.
and dropping the rain.
You know, you talked about dreams. As an adult, many times we put those dreams on the back burner because as a child, I mean, we have all types of ideas, all types of dreams, all types of visions of who we want to be, what we want to be doing with our life. And all of a sudden, life gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then we no longer dream. One of the things that I think both of us talk about is journaling. When you record those thoughts that drop into your spirit, that's an idea for you. That's a creative that's flowing. Allow it to flow, but record it. And I guarantee you that in writing it, you're going to see a theme that's been woven through it. And that helps you to continue to move on. I see we have Kareem that's listening in. I mean, he's a business strategist himself, and he sometimes even teaches classes on it. But one of the things that I remember me as a little girl is I would always write in my journal. You know, we didn't call them journals at that time. We call them what diaries. The one with the
Yeah.
lock and key that you hope nobody found and read. And I remember writing all my goals and the things that I wanted to do. And if I didn't have my diary with me, I would write it on a piece of paper and put it in the back of my Bible. And of course, when you go to church, you get, bored and you want something to do. So I would look in the back of the Bible and I will pull out those goals. And guess what? I would have achieved them. And I kept doing that over and over and over. And I realized the more I wrote my dreams and my goals, the more I would achieve them. So now that just became a part of my everyday life. So that's a nugget that we can think about now and do is write them down. And before long, you're planning them within your spirit and you're acting them out. You're doing an action plan against them, whether you realize it or not. And so they can become a reality. So I love the fact that you say, what brings you joy? And that's what's going to continue to surface into your spirit as well. Love it.
Absolutely. You're spot on, Maxine. And now, and here's the thing, when you combine your why, so there's,
Mm-hmm.
I call it a trifecta:
Yeah.
passion, purpose, and prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
So, passion is your why, and purpose can be a mix of that joy, can be that why. So, it can be interconnected, doesn't matter. The key is like know your why, know your joy. And when you mix them together, you don't have to be salesy. You don't have to sell
Come on.
anyone.
Come on.
All you do is share and serve. And when you share and serve, prosperity follows. So the next step is that, okay, you have written it down and you know what you want to do, what brings you joy. The next step, let's take a look at it, is now we are going to go into little practicality, is check that what you want to do is marketable or not. So, for example, if you're living in a town, let's say, just going to give an example, if it's a football town, Charlotte, we can say, Panthers play there. So it's a football town, and now, right around the football stadium, maybe a couple of streets down, you open up a shop that's a ski shop. And there's nowhere, anywhere like mountains. I mean, of course, the mountains there,
Right.
but people are not interested in it. And what's going to happen is no matter how much joy it brings to you, no matter how strong your why is, if you're not putting in practical strategies, your business may run, but it will not thrive. So think about, is it a marketable idea? And when I talk about marketable idea, is identifying who your ideal client is. So
Correct.
important. Who do you want to work with? And the reason I'm telling you is that because you can pick who you can work with.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to share a story here again. Like, if you're working with a person who's not the right fit for you, then not only you're doing a disservice to yourself, you're doing a disservice to somebody else.
That's right.
So, one of the gentlemen had been given, like, he was shared with his, after his 360 review, that he needed to take coaching sessions. So I was assigned to him. We started working together, and for first couple of sessions, it was just like stonewalling me. So at the end of our second session, I told him, we'll just call him John. Hey, John, it's been a pleasure working with you. What I'm going to share with you is that I'll be dropping you as a client
Mm-hmm.
because I see over here that I'm not able to make an impact, and I'm not just here to collect money.
Correct.
And I can tell you, I had definitely shocked the poor guy. And he's like, what? He said, yeah, because this is not just a checkbox that you show up and we check it, because I only want to work with people who want to make an impact and who want to be their best version. And that doesn't mean you cannot fall, you cannot fail. I always say that it's okay to fall, it's okay to fail. It's just not okay to give up. And before we were supposed to leave, he said, how about if I think about it? Before you just go and report back that, like, you're not working with John, can I have a week? I said, sure.
Mm,
Because ultimately, as coaches, we are here to support our clients.
that's right.
He came back and said, I'm ready. And I brought this list of questions and these impossible situations where things are going all against me. And he was in a place where he was in a victim mode, that everything was being done to him. He was powerless and everybody was against him. So, as we started working together, because he was open to the idea that there could be things he could improve on, not only he turned around things, but at the end of like 8 months of our coaching, he got a promotion. So, from being laid off or being fired, he turned around things, built those strong relationships, and it was all his doing because he said yes to himself.
That's right.
And that's the third strategy that I want to give y'all is say yes to yourself. And when I say that, that means it's okay to work with people that you like to work with. If you don't want to work with someone that's not filling you with joy, it's okay to say no. Because what I've seen is that if I cannot do that, I'm not able to serve them to my fullest capacity. So don't work under, I gotta do it. And if you gotta do it,
Yeah,
be honest with yourself. Be honest with the other person
that's right.
that, hey, listen, in our coaching relationship or as an entrepreneur, whether even if it is somebody who is a client in any other capacity, whoever that person is, let them know, be honest, and you'll be surprised how much people appreciate honesty.
I love that you brought that up because a part of the agreement that I with my clients is written in the agreement that they can, end the relationship or I can end the relationship. And is exactly for what the reason why. I tell them I accept those who want to be helped and who are ready to be helped. Because when you have those two combinations, then they'll do exactly what you talked about. John will do. They'll have that change in mindset, and they'll put a strategy in place, and they'll start working that strategy. And it never fails, Divya. It ends up changing them. It ends up changing their situation, and whether it's a promotion involved or not from a company, but you can promote yourself.
You said it. That's what does it. So when you're saying yes to yourself, you'll be sharing and strategizing strategies that are good for you. That's good for you and that's good for your business.
Yes.
And now we'll again kind of take a story. Let's go back to Sarah, who was doing like multiple things. And when we sat down to look at her, what brought her joy? She finally figured it out that it was being a health coach that really, really helped her because she was so jazzed up. Like, as she would talk about her clients, she would light up. And helping people with websites or technology didn't light her up at all. So then she narrowed it down. The next step I'm going to share is niche it down. Is and that's what Sarah did. You may be good at 10 different things, but niche it down. And you may be like, oh, I'll not serve rest of the people. I'll tell you, it's not about how many you serve. It's about the quality of
Yeah.
service that you provide. The impact is going to be so deep. So think about an inch wide and a mile deep. And
Hmm.
when you do that, even one person who goes back to their family after your coaching session or after as a service provider, or even if you have a retail store, after they go back, there are people in their sphere. They're going to impact others. And there are studies out there that show that happiness is contagious.
It's
It goes up to 3 degrees. So think about it, when you are bringing about transformation, it's definitely going to help people.
Oh, you just gave some excellent nuggets. Those platinum nuggets. Know thyself, and then say yes to yourself. I love it. And then put the strategy in place so that you can continue to move forward. And it's about what you see yourself doing, not what someone else sees you doing. One of the things here at Level is we talk about define what success looks like for you. And then you can put that strategy in place, because when you know what success looks like for you, then you know how to put your strategy in place. So I love these platinum nuggets that you're dropping. So what else do you have for us? Because I know we're going to talk about how to inspire and how to implement.
Well, I will quickly share a couple of other strategies that now, once you have the strategies in place, then the next step is implementation. And here's what I'll tell you: the fastest way to confidence, the fastest way to cash, the fastest way to impact, fastest way to anything is the right implementation at the right time in the right order. And that's why we have been talking about it, because if you just kind of go and find your joy, but if you don't know your purpose, then
Mhm.
what's your why, then you might be happy doing something, but then you will not be able to persevere through it. So, what
Right.
I would share is that implementation is the key. And sometimes, yes, all of us procrastinate. Yes, most of us get into the perfection, like, oh, I got to do it right. Otherwise, what are other people going to think about me? All those self doubts. Build tiny, tiny habits. Build, even if it is, think about it, that if you're moving, if your end goal is to have a 6-figure business, think about getting 5 clients in the first year, then 10 clients. So create it step by step. And even if you take a step, remember that a step is better than none taken. So implementation, implementation. And lastly, I want to share is collaboration. Build relationships, because having the right people who surround you, you are the sum of people that you surround yourself with. Collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. And I can tell you, I've known Maxine for so many years. And it has just been such a joy knowing her and having her in my sphere of influence. So, those are some of the strategies. And of course, there are tons of other strategies that we could go over, but these are a few that you can get started with.
And the thing about it is that you've given them these platinum nuggets that they can implement like right now, like right away. I trust that you've written these nuggets down and in the order. And if not, you can always come back and revisit this video, because it's important that you do things in the right order, in the right manner. So the timing is always the perfect timing, but you have to get the timing down when it comes to the order, and that would help with the organization. So as you're working with your clients, Divya, and you talk about inspiring, and what do you help them to understand? How do they go about that inspiring themselves? Because it's all about self advocacy.
It's about, so I'm a biochemist by training. So I kind of know a, quite a bit about neurochemistry and how does the brain work. So the way I share with them is I take the pressure off them completely, because that's the reality and that's the truth. So our brains have been conditioned by so many different things. So for example, in just in the last century, even pregnant moms used to smoke and it was completely fine. And now We have bars where there is no smoking at all. So there are norms that people were exposed to, which was completely fine, and nobody thought any of it. People
Right.
didn't exercise as much. People didn't think about it. Now people are so much more health conscious. People are so much more conscious about so many different things. So what's happened is that our brains get conditioned either by society, whatever the norms are, or by catastrophic events. For example, hurricanes. So, for example, if you're living in Florida and somebody had been through Ian, and when they're a child, they see houses getting wiped off. They don't want to live in Florida, or they don't want to live in coastal towns that are surrounded by ocean. So these are little things, but our experiences shape our future. And then what kind of family upbringing did you have? So I've seen a lot of my clients where parents would not allow them to spend a whole lot of money. And so they were very money conscious and having issues in their relationship because they continue that cycle. They don't even know what has happened because your brain has soaked that experience and learned to survive. Brain does not know how to thrive. It's not designed. And when we talk about it doesn't know, because it's not designed to do that. It is designed to protect human beings and allow them to survive. But that said, our conscious evolution has happened tremendously, and we as humans have that power of choice. And when we talk about the choice, it's just becoming aware and bringing non judgment and self compassion. And I know these are big words and it takes time. So, the first step that we do when we talk about inspiring yourselves is recognizing that we all have flaws. We may look at another person, and I loved what you had said. Do not compare do not compare yourself with yourself, and do
Right.
not compare yourself with others. That was such a powerful statement, Maxine. So the first step is just accepting yourself as you are. There's no good, there's no bad. Things are just there, because how many times do we question, gosh, why the heck do I only have one single nose and not five noses? So similarly, we have it because when we accept and when we become aware of what we are doing, that's when the seed of change takes root.
That is good. That is good. And that inspiration, many times, like what you talked about, know thyself. And when you know thyself, you know what's causing you not to have that joy, what's causing you not to experience it. And and again, recognize it, but write it down. I'm gonna come back to write it down, make a record of it. The brain can only retain so much.
You said it.
So if you write it down, then you have a record of it. I tell my clients, because a lot of times they say, "Well, I can't sleep at night. I can't sleep at night," because they always generating ideas. Ideas are high generator, right? When it comes to that, I said, "Well, go on and wake up because you're already awake anyway. Have a journal by your bed, a pen, and write all the things down that you're thinking about, because the brain wants to remember them, and that's why it's keeping you awake. But if you write it down, you do a data dump, and then the brain can relax and say, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about trying to retain all of that for tomorrow morning, so I'll let you go on to sleep. you know so that's what you're sharing with us, that it comes a time where you have to be conscious of what's going on internally so that you can have the right to control it.
Hmm.
And if you're not controlling it, then who's controlling it?
It's the mind, it's the subconscious. It just kind of takes over. And there are actually 16 saboteurs. And when we talk about, like, so I'll share another story. For example, I love chocolate. After a whole day, and sometimes you've had difficult clients because they're going through difficulty themselves. So they're not difficult. That's how we perceive it. So now you got to regroup yourself and look at the whole situation in a different way. That
Right.
what was it that I was not able to rise to the occasion? So becoming aware and accepting that, yes, as an empath, you can connect and take on somebody else's pain, and it's okay. So rather than fighting it, that it's all right that you are a human being. So I'll kind of share with you, like, after sometimes when I feel like, yeah, yes, you can do this, you can see the potential in someone, and yet they're not taking that step. And as a coach, you gotta hold yourself back. You're like, gosh, come on. You can do it. You got this. It's just this like little tiny little one more belief in yourself, and you are so close to the finish line. And
Right.
but you gotta hold your tongue, you gotta hold yourself back. And there are days like, when you're just kind of regrouping and recharging yourself. I sit with like a big Hershey's bar or a Kit Kat or an Almond Joy, and I'm eating. And I know that, like, okay, that processed sugar is not good. So I might have one or two or three chocolates. So, but I'm aware. So that's where the awareness helps. That if you become aware, then you know that you're making a choice.
Yes, that's good.
You
That's
know that, okay, I shouldn't be doing this. And yet I'm doing it. So then I'll be like, after the second one, okay, I gotta put it away. So that's the power, like when we talk about how you can inspire yourself, is not assuaging your own judgment by things that are external. It's about digesting them and accepting. So what I've found is that when I start accepting, or when I'm in that situation and when I accept myself, that it's okay, I did my best.
mhm.
And all I can do is I can be there for my client, I can support them and let them unravel the mystery and let them be on that journey. It's completely fine. And when I do that, it's almost as if the fog lifts off,
Mhm.
everything becomes clear, and that inspiration comes, that I can hold that safe space for them where they're able to come and share that. So
Yes.
rather than thinking, oh gosh, was I not able to inspire them to go ahead and make a transformation, then it brings back home that it's not about me, it's about them. And my job is to hold that space for them. And we all are human beings. We want to help. Like, that again goes back to my why. Like, yeah, I want to help. But at the same time, the joy comes from the transformation. The joy comes when people empower themselves. So we all are human beings. And I'm always open to being vulnerable and sharing that I got to keep on working on myself every single day. So, similarly, that's like if you're looking to inspire yourself or inspire others, it's okay to recognize that you're a human being. You may have achieved mastery in a certain area, and yet there will be days where there's a deeper mastery to be attained,
Yes.
where you may have been challenged by other clients, and yet there's a deeper challenge you got to face. So it's like being that Olympian who's ready to break those records time after
Oh,
time after
mhm.
time. And yet there is consistent commitment and perseverance.
And you're telling the story and you're talking about the mastery of it and accepting your purpose. You have to understand what your purpose is. You have
Mhm.
to understand thyself, like what you just talked about. And in understanding thyself, if you're not able to do it by yourself, that's why you have Diva and myself as coaches. Diva work with the executive side. I work with the professionals in transition and my students who are in college and high school. So when it comes to the high school and the college, those who going into college, Kareem said, yes, understanding your purpose. I mean, it's so critical that even at an age of 13, 14, 15, while they're in high school, they still need to understand their purpose. They need to be able to discover it and identify it, because I know at 17, I did not know mine. It wasn't until later in life when I finally discovered what I was called to do. So, what would you tell your 17-year-old self, that you know now? What would you tell your 17-year-old self back then?
Well, I would tell that 17-year-old is Just be mindful, enjoy life. And when I talk about enjoy life, I'm not talking about going and partying and like, getting drinking and like, oh yeah, I gotta go, like, just go out and party hard and dance hard all night. What I'm saying is that enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
The time that's gone is gone. And what you may be like so stressed out about will have no meaning in certain years. So, for example, I'll share that I used to be all about grades. Oh, gotta keep that A, gotta keep that A. And now I would say that now I tell kids it's okay. As long as you've done your best, even if you get a C, it's all right. As long as you know in your heart you did not shy away from doing your best. And when you have put in your best and circumstances can happen, life can happen, it's okay. And not beat yourself up. So, again, just show up for yourself, because when you say yes to yourself, you'll be showing up for yourself. And when you show up for yourself, as contrary and as paradoxical it may sound, you will automatically show up for others.
Yeah, that is so critical. I know at the end of my show, I always say, I believe in you and I trust you believe in yourself, because that believe in yourself is so powerful, and you talked about why you're here, do what you can while you're here and do your best. I also talk about, we have a birth date and then we have a date when we leave this earth. But it never fails that between those two dates, there's always that dash. That dash is how you showed up while you were here on this earth. That dash is how you helped others. That dash is what's your legacy. That dash is how you're transforming generations. So I love the fact that you say, do it, get up and do it. Tomorrow is not promised. Yesterday is gone. Today is right now. So do what you can today. Don't put it on hold. So I'm loving that, do your best and accept yourself. And that's where joy comes. That why. Write it down. Hello, write it down and put it in front of you. Put it on the refrigerator. Put it on the mirrors in the bathroom. Put it in something in the car so that you can keep in front of you your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? So Devia's information is going across the banner now. This is how we're able to get in contact with her, because I know you're going to have questions. So let me see if you have any questions now while we can answer a few questions. Go on and write them in the comment box, in the chat box, and that way we can get to them. Is there a web? Okay, yeah, we just put the website up so that you have it for Devia, so that you know how to reach her. So talk to me now about when individuals understand their why, but they have not made a decision to move forward with that why. What's going on internally with them?
Mm, it's the fear usually, because there's something that's holding them back. And it's important to know what those fears are, because if you don't know your fears, you cannot overcome them. And here's the thing, it's okay to be fearful. It's okay to fall. It's okay to fail. It's not okay to give up on yourself, because this life is precious.
Oh, yes.
We are so blessed to have this life. So when that fear is going on, it stops people from taking action. And this again kind of goes back to the brain conditioning, that when the brain knows what happened, let's say I'm going to go back to stories. I love storytelling. So one of my clients, basically going back to Sarah. So the reason she was not going into health coaching was because she was worried if she would be able to provide results for her clients, versus doing technology stuff where she could design website or build funnels or do some automation for people, it was much easier for her. She knew it was something she could control. She
Mm,
knew that she could predict that. And when she could predict it, then it kept her in that safe space. She played small. And
mhm,
when you play small, there's always going to be that little thorn in your side that's going to keep on poking at you, where you'll feel that discontent, where you will feel that, oh, I'm not living a meaningful life.
yes.
There's something missing. And you may have everything on your life's platter, and yet something is missing. So that's where, going back to Sarah's story, was that as we talked, she found out that she was fearful of her inability to help people.
Mm,
So as she talked, and she said, I need to get a certification in integrative health strategies. And that just aligns everything for me. She did the research, went and took a year's certification, and now I'm so proud of her and happy to share that she has helped hundreds of people just to change their lifestyles, even if it is taking one small step at a time.
at a time. That's so true. And also, she had that shift in the mindset
Mhm.
that it was about her. And she understood that she had to fear, but she also understood what it would take for her to overcome that fear. Not only did she have a phenomenal coach, but she also resonated within herself what she needed to do. Because we as coaches, we can ask questions, we can lead you there, but it's up to you to actually move forward and start implementing on that you know that you should be doing once you put a strategy in place. And so that is absolutely a wonderful story as to show how it's important that you recognize your challenge and then you also recognize how to overcome that challenge. And then you take the step to actually overcome it. So I'd say goals are just words on a piece of paper until you actually put actions against it and start implementing. So that's good. All right. So you also, before we get off of here, I know we're running out of time, but we have about 10 minutes. But you also talked about that you have a free gift that you like to share with the viewing audience.
So it's about atomic habits, 12 minutes, because I know that everyone's extremely busy. And the goal is that you start by taking tiny, tiny steps, helping your brain develop habits that can take you to implementation. As Maxine mentioned, that goals are just goals when they're on paper. It's when you take that action that will help you realize your dreams.
So the website is running across the banner right now. And is that where they go to get this free gift? Is that where, okay,
Yes, ma'am.
please go ahead.
Yeah. So that's where they go. And if you basically just go and sign up, you'll be able to either listen to it, where you can listen to it while you're walking, or you can read through it and learn to develop tiny, tiny little habits every single day so that you can live the lifestyle you deserve.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that's what one of the things that I talk about when it comes to level is not only do we help you to know your worth, but you advocate for yourself and you succeed on your own terms. But by doing that, you end up selecting the career that speaks to your heart, that speaks to your abilities and speak to your strengths. And you end up getting the income you desire and you live the lifestyle that you deserve. So that was right on point with what you just said because it's so important that you live the lifestyle that you deserve, not what someone else is doing, but what you deserve. What you deserve. So as we start closing up, so what one final thought would you like to leave with the audience this evening?
One final thought I would like to share is that say yes to yourself because I believe in you. Maxine believes in you, and let that potential out because you have the potential. Let me tell you, if I, Maxine, or Sarah, or John could do it, you can do it. We are just like your next door neighbors, and just give yourself that chance. And
Yes.
I'm not talking about climbing Mount Everest. I'm just talking about taking the tiny steps every single day. And this may sound like cliche, but the journey to a mile begins with one tiny little step that you take towards it. Take one step. And one quick thing I would like to share is that think about that when you are driving through the rain, you cannot see the whole road, but that doesn't stop you from getting in your car and going to work or something like that. You are, those wipers are running and you are able to see a short distance. You slow down, you cross that distance, and then you'll be able to see the next further distance, and then next further, and next further. So don't worry if the whole pathway is not clear to you. Whatever is clear to you, take that first step and get on it because I know you can do it and I believe in you.
That is awesome. But it's all about taking the first step. And that first step could be to discover who you are, to discover yourself from your core. What were you already born to be doing that you probably are already doing every day? You have just not recognized it. Again, come back and journal it, write it down, and you're going to see that there is a theme that's been woven through the information that you have written about yourself or written that comes to your mind or comes into your spirit. I guarantee that that will happen. It has happened to so many of my clients once they start journaling. Like, do I have to journal a certain way? And the answer is no. Do I have to journal so often? The answer is no. But I guarantee you that once you start writing, before you know it, it will come to you and you'll want to start writing even more. Going across the screen is a 15-minute strategy session that you can even have with myself. Remember, we're going to put the link back up to Divya and where you can go and get that free gift. And I'm sure if there's any other information, she's going to have it on her website. And do we have your website so that we make sure that, okay, that we give them your website so they can go to your website and take a look at all the other things that you offer? So that's going to be awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard it. I mean, so many platinum nuggets. I want you to write in the comment box what platinum nugget resonated with you that you're going to take back and start implementing right now and share it with others. Don't just keep it to yourself. Come on now, let's share it. That's how we transform generations. That's how we leave our legacy. So, Divya being here this evening and sharing this wonderful information with us, she's dropped platinum nuggets. Her legacy will continue to live on in the lives of those who what listening and who comes back to watch this video and who will come back to watch this video and who will also tell other people. So that's what life is about, is also sharing your knowledge, your skills, your abilities, your resources. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't leave this earth full. Leave empty by sharing. I'm like, I want to leave it all here so that they can use it in my absence.
Oh, oh my goodness. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maxine, for having me. It was
You
such an honor.
you are so welcome. You are so welcome. Now, do we okay, we'll put your website up later. Do you want to put your website up now? Now that's where they get the free gift, but what about your actual website? Do we have your website? Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the website is going across the banner now. So that's going to do it for this evening. I thank you for joining us. Divya, thank you so much for all these platinum nuggets that you just dropped. I'm so honored to have you here. I'm going to invite you back now. This is just the beginning.
Oh, it'll be a joy and honor to be back. Thank you, Maxine.
You're more than welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, meet me back here next week, same time, same station. And we're going to be having with us, we're going to be having, we have a phenomenal guest that's going to be with us. Renee Daltrey. He is going to be here talking about compassionate leadership. Hello, you don't want to miss it. So meet me back here, same time, same station. I believe in you, and I trust you believe in yourself. Have a great evening.
Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.